Welcome, everybody, to the Minions of the Zoo Tuesday edition. I'm your keeper, Skep Tock, this evening. With me, I have Minions Blind Press,
Hi, everyone.
Prospero,
Hello, and on behalf of Harry backstage.
who I'm adding to the stream,
There we go.
Hello.
and Chaos Eve,
Hi, everyone.
and Harry from the Harry channel.
Howdy. Oh, I got here 30 seconds before the show, so I don't. I can't get too salty about
I'm
you
sorry
not
about
noticing
that.
me.
No, I'm sorry. I was just being old there for a minute.
Well,
Sorry,
he was
it's been
doing the button with the
repetitive.
thing, with the button, with
Right.
the.
You know,
These kids and their computers. Who knows how they work?
Old man yells at Sky.
Right,
Is
exactly.
joined by a bunch of other people.
Where's Monkey?
Yeah.
But at any rate, I know that
You forgot to introduce the traveling exhibit.
who?
Didn't you introduce Jedi Ghost Bear yet, or no?
No, he's not here yet.
He's not here
I'm
yet.
sorry. Yeah. He contacted me and said he's going to be about 30 to 45 minutes late.
Oh,
So
okay.
He will join us later on in the
Probably when I have to duck out.
show. Senile
Of course.
agitation. You get yourself some Thorazine.
I was going to say blinds. I know,
What ails you?
I know you can't see who's in here, but, you know, there's nobody else here but us. So.
I know I'm not with it yet.
It's that phenothiazine goodness.
yeah.
When the tardive dyskinesia and the extrapyramidal symptoms set in, you got a shucking and jiving oldster half out of their gourd doing the Thorazine shuffle.
I was
boy.
once driving down the road. There was this guy in one of the like a 1968 American wagon. It was blue. I mean, it was okay for its time, but this was the 90s. And this guy was doing about 35 going down Highway 101.
Oh my God.
And he had his window rolled down, and he looked like the guy in that Thorazine picture. And he had his right arm out the window, and he was shaking his arm at every single car that passed him. He was
Like,
just doing
slow
35, just going,
down!
"Go, you kids and your damn jalopies." Great.
What is this? Oh, you know what? This is easy.
Okay, you
this.
take
I'm
that.
gonna leave you guys
you-
alone.
I love that he has the
I'll be back in
default.
a minute. You
Okay,
guys
okay.
made me proud.
He has
We're
the
good.
default ringtone, and I have that too. And I always think I need to change it because it sounds like the background to like a modern day pharmaceutical ad.
It
You know, like
really
you've
does.
got fibromyalgia.
Speaking of Thorazine, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
Get your life back. You know.
There is a TikToker from
Drugs.
England who his whole shtick is being shocked at things that are commonplace in North America.
Mhm.
And one of the things he did recently was the advertisements for medications in the States. And it is really weird. Like as a person who gets I don't have cable anymore, but when I did, I got access to US channels. And it is weird to be bombarded with nothing but medication ads and, have you, ambulance chasing ads, have you been hurt in the car or on the job?
My favorite, have you or a loved one died?
Yeah.
I mean, if I've,
What are
whom
there
are you
coffins
speaking?
with televisions in them?
yeah, I mean, to whom,
Excuse me, person
are
buried
you
in a
speaking?
cemetery. Have you died? Would you like to sue for dying?
yeah, it makes no sense. But that's the wording that the pro litigation crowd.
Or the mesothelioma commercials that sound like desperately, like they wish that a whole bunch of people will contact them.
It's called
With
Desperately
mesoth-
Seeking Sewers.
Yeah. They're like, please, God, if you have mesothelioma, call us right now.
Yeah.
like,
All my other friends have cashed in. I want to.
yeah.
We're ready to believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Oh wait, that's the Ghostbuster. I forgot.
well, it's indistinguishable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's but going back to Skep's ringtone and yours, Harry. I can't. It is that aggressive kind of marketing music. I'm pretty sure I told you guys about. I used to have Toby Keith's "Weed with Willie" as my ringtone,
That's a good song.
and I was except it went off several times in inappropriate places.
I have thought about looking for the Horsecock song just for fun.
Yeah.
But then I decided against it just in case I'm picking up my kids.
Yes. You're in a meeting with a teacher and you forgot to silence your phone.
Well, there's no cock like
Yeah.
Shut the door and spin the lock.
That's when CPS shows up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like the story Dennis Leary used to tell about being called in for a school meeting because one of his children was singing the asshole song.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he said, he's like, oh yeah, have you heard this? He's like, I wrote it, ASSH. He said, my wife is staring daggers at me. Please, just shut up. He's like, I'm not gonna. I wrote it. I'm proud of my kid. They learned it.
Sometimes I park in handicapped spaces.
places.
Well, handicapped people make handicapped faces.
I don't know why I love that song so much, but
Real fucking asshole.
and it's the Leo. It's so cheerful.
It is
Because it starts off, that I'm just a regular Joe with a regular job, and it's so chummy and Irish folk ballady, and then then that whole riff in the middle about getting John Cassavetes and John Wayne together, and they're gonna ride around in a Cadillac with baby seal
skin interior with
and big baby seal eyes for headlights.
Yep.
Eating McDonald's hamburgers in the styrofoam containers and throwing it out the window.
Yep.
It's like,
just a great song.
You just described the 70s in America.
So, speaking of channels where people just sort of react to things, I found this one called the New Home Quality Control channel.
Okay.
And it's a UK like home inspector guy, and all he does is just just goes around and shows pictures. It's really fast paced. Like, can you believe this? Can you believe this? Can you believe this? So it's a lot of him just holding levels next to things which are not plumb, and just showing things just being just utterly screwed. It's pretty fun.
Yeah,
that's like my find of the day. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the chat for anybody who's
please
curious.
do.
Pincolo and I like Pincolo's when Pincolo's TikTok is full of like business guys. Like there's a well and septic guy that has a TikTok account. And he he told one story about he just tells stories about different jobs he does and dealing with the stupid Karens in the gated communities whose homeowner associations are like no work vehicles allowed at certain times. And they're like, but I need my septic pump fixed or my whatever pumped out. And he's like, okay, but I can't bring my truck in here.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
I mean, if you'd like me to pump it in Gladys Kravitz's yard, I'll do it. Yeah, those work vehicles not allowed during certain hours. It's such bullshit. I mean, it's like if your furnace is out, I don't care that it's 2:00 in the morning.
You need heat.
It's January. It's just, oh God.
Yeah, like we had, I think that the time when our furnace broke a month ago, it was only a week. And thank God it wasn't as cold as it is right now. Because holy shit. Like my mom had space heaters that she had been using in her other house before she moved.
Mm-hmm.
And she just brought them over and she's like, here, just while you're waiting for the furnace to be replaced, here, have some space heaters, like.
we have guys on contract.
Yeah.
That we, it's that pay in the event that you need them kind of
Mhm.
deal, which has saved us a couple of times because they are almost always there within the day.
Oh, awesome.
They can't now in particular, they can't always get the part, but a lot of them, carry so much on the truck that it's fixable. But, the other day it was snowing here, which is a thing, that happens once in a while, but it also throws everybody for a loop. And it was awfully cold, but I see one of their trucks come chugging up the street, and I said, ruh-roh, somebody's furnace done kicked. I hope it's fixable, because a lot of these homes, unless people have backfit gas logs, some folks don't even have gas, because not everybody opted for it when they brought it out here. Thank God my mother did. Oh, God. Because, man, you talk about bad winters and home heating costs and things like that. I converted finally from oil to gas a few years ago.
Oh, your house was one of the older
oil furnace houses, and it was, we had a boiler basically over the oil furnace, and when we lived in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And so it was baseboard hot water heat.
Yeah.
It's so weird because it would tick, 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 tick when the water would come through.
Yeah.
But the nothing like, and that was also the water heater.
Mm-hmm.
Which meant that if 3 people took showers in close proximity to each other, you didn't have any hot water for a while.
Nope. That was my old house.
Yeah, my mom years and years ago needed to replace the water heater in this house, and she got the biggest damn water heater you could get. I was like, Mama, you don't have that much company. She said, I don't care. I'm never ever want to go through that timing showers crap again. No, you may not take a shower right now. Aunt Mary's taking her shower. But we had oil, and I don't remember what year it was, 2014 maybe, when then we just had repeated polar vortexes.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, the heating bill, I mean, I think my parents paid less for their first house than the total season of heating oil for us.
Yeah,
and
I bet.
It was just awful.
And I don't know about you, but we have actually an alert out right now, a cold weather, like a cold air alert.
Fortunately,
for my region.
Fortunately, not yet for us, but we had a pretty temperate day today.
Okay.
And that air is heading toward us.
Yeah.
Because it's high tomorrow is supposed to be in the 30s, which is a little unusual for Virginia. Usually we make it to 40 during the day.
Yeah.
And 34 with a low of 18.
I think
it's quite cold for us.
I think overnight we're supposed to be getting a low of something along the lines of -28 with a feel of -33.
Oh God, Sanguine will just come and romp. He loves that kind of weather.
Yep.
He's abnormal.
He's an outlier. That's probably the nicest way to describe our friend Sanguine.
Yes, he very much is an outlier.
It's like, I am so thick like a human oak tree that cold will not penetrate to my inner core for months. Aha! By then it'll be summer. He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't. It's summer that does him in. He is a creature of cold weather. I am not.
What are we talking about, guys?
Weather.
His imperviousness.
Isn't that interesting? Cold. And Sanguine's imperviousness to cold.
I leave you in charge of the show, and you're already to the weather.
Well,
Wait, you were gone?
Yeah. Oh.
That's gonna leave a mark.
That's like a Twitter burn.
Yeah,
Burn,
you
dude.
should have said you were stepping away because I'd have gotten out the lighter and the gasoline and I'd have burned this bitch down.
It's like Neil Young wants his songs taken off was it
Oh,
Spotify,
Spotify.
and
Yeah.
a bunch of people said Neil who?
Well,
Yeah.
Neil gave his rights away, the rights to his music away, like what?
Yeah, when he sold when he sold his interest in the
Yeah.
ALM or whatever.
So
it
he's
was,
got
yeah.
no freaking.
I just love it though. If you don't take Joe Rogan off your platform, I want my music removed. And it's like, bye for the show.
Yeah.
I love the Who though. That's just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like us to copy it all to a thumb drive and send it to you via the snail mail? I mean, what? It's just no. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Old man, take a look at your life. What are you doing? You know?
Oh,
Nice, Prospero.
well
He
played.
has
very
such a
well
lovely
played.
singing voice.
I mean, he's
You know what? I actually have been to one of his concerts, and it was in a smallish club, and it was just him and a guitar. Let me tell you something. That guy can entertain a room for an hour and a half, and he's got a lot of interesting and cool songs. He's an old style folk artist, really. Is what he is, and that's why he never fit in with Crosby, Stills, Nash.
Yeah.
So he was trying to make his own music and fit it to their style of Beach Boys style harmony. With a rock veneer.
And Beach Boys they couldn't even harmonize. So
Well, when I say Beach Boys, what I mean is Crosby,
style.
Stills, Nash and Young did a lot of harmony work.
yeah, they did.
and they could do,
But they could. They
Yeah,
could
They actually
actually
sang better than
harmonize.
the Beach Boys.
The Beach Boys were always like a little bit flat, which was really annoying.
Yeah, it was better when Glenn Campbell and Robert Johnston joined the Beach Boys. Yes, Glenn Campbell was a Beach Boy.
Mm-hmm.
It improved the musicality and sound of everybody who wasn't Brian immensely. You know,
Everybody who wasn't Brian.
with Dennis getting drum lessons from Glenn Campbell, the guitarist.
Yeah.
Dennis was a complete loser.
Yeah.
And so, when drowning is a good career move, that's
not
a sign you're doing well.
Okay, that went dark.
All right, listen. I assume we've stepped around it, and there's an elephant in the room, and
Yes.
let's talk about that. And
Yeah,
I have
we
a
were
little bit of a
waiting for you to
monologue
get
that
off
I
the
would like
phone.
to talk with you. As many of you, I'm sure, know that Irate Prostate passed away this morning. His heart stopped. He was sitting in his recliner, and Uzi was with him at the time. She just adjusted some stuff. He'd been on an oxygen machine, and he'd been in bad health for a long time. And at any rate, he was a pretty good friend of mine, Alabama boy. We had a lot in common, and even had the fun rivalry of me loving Auburn and him loving Alabama. But, my friend who, this guy and I watched the entire Auburn, Alabama, not this last one, but the one before. We watched that on a stream together. That stream is on his channel somewhere.
Oh, nice.
And you can listen to 2.5 hours of Irate Prostate and I talking. And so if you care to, at any rate, he was just an absolutely capital guy, fearless in learning the trade of videography. He got so much more deeply into it than I ever did. I mean, and I remember when he was just getting into it, and I thought, he's a neophyte. He'll probably get burned out after a week and give it up. He didn't. He really developed a lot of skill with using OBS and doing some very creative things with his channel. He was an unstoppable amount of energy in terms of getting guests for his channel and developing his own interview skills. Those came along over time. Anyway, just absolutely capital guy. He's married to Uzi Q, who which is a play on her name, which I won't say because we're not going to dox anybody tonight, guys. But it's just such a wonderful couple, and I'm just feeling sadness and loss tonight, and it's a loss for our community. This was a good man. Not a perfect man, obviously. Not everybody.
Nobody
can be
is
me.
perfect.
Well, everybody can be me. Within his limits of not being me, he was a very fine guy. All kidding aside, and I'm just saying things that would amuse him. I made a stupid meme about him. That was my therapy this afternoon. I was just, going in and out of a funk. And I have him entering here, I'll go fetch it.
Fetch it.
There. I'll go get the silly thing. And we'll get that and do this. Let's see. Do I have to copy this to VHS, Harry? Is that how you do it? the VHS toolkit or is that the EMM manager?
I think that's a VLC.
It's a RGB monitor. They have color now.
On the VHS machine, you got to use the VHS machine.
You got to use the VHS machine. Absolutely. All right.
Remember dedicated VHS rewinders?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
They hadn't looked like
awesome.
Sports cars. Oh, look! It looks like a Ferrari. Cool.
Yeah.
That makes it rewind faster.
Damnedest things.
There's Valhalla in the background. There's Valhalla in the background with a rainbow bridge. And frustrated with OBS, Irate Prostate heads for Valhalla, where software is maintained by a crack team of technicians, headed up by Loki. What could go wrong?
Clearly.
I love it.
I love it.
It was a pretty picture of Valhalla. And
it made me think of the number of times he would come in fussing because he was muted and he didn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I don't know what the hell, it's just.
Yeah, you even say a little bit. That's, he does have that. He had that Alabama twang.
Yes,
it wasn't not a really heavy Southern accent, but there's a certain twang from the western part of Georgia and all through Alabama to the eastern part of Mississippi. That is it's the Alabama twang.
Yeah,
and he had that deeply. My cousins have that. Anyway, Prospero's from the South, so she is qualified to do that. But I miss my friend and already. And Uzi is being brave, but she loved him deeply.
Yes, she did.
And you cannot underestimate what she's going through right now.
And he was absolutely crazy about that girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. They had 30 lovely years together. Of course, there's never time enough for love, as we know. But
Robert A. Heinlein said
yes, yes, indeed, he did.
I wish we had 1,000 years to spend with those we loved. I really, truly do. I wish he'd had 1,000 years.
Yeah. Don't we all?
If you remember the book "Time Enough for Love," even 1,000 years was not enough for the
time.
Protagonist.
Yeah. All I can say is I can offer up a quote from the end of Return of the King. I will not say, "Do not weep, for not all tears are evil."
Yeah. we're gonna all move to the gratitude portion.
Yeah.
It just takes a bit of processing. It
Yeah.
always does. Grief is very much of a journey, and it involves a lot of peculiar, conflicting emotions at times. You can be heartbroken and intensely angry, absolutely furious at no one, because there's no one who owns this. You
No.
know, but
I'm just reading chat. It's just I love our group. I really truly
yeah,
do. It's just people offering condolences to just people coming together and saying what an impact, like what Prospero just made made the comment that what an impact he made on a lot of us. And Elwyn said that his channel was so filled with joy. He always sounded delighted with everything he did. He really was. He loved creating videography. He truly was inspired by a love of making videos. He just thought that was amazing. And Six telling us that he helped the next 6 minutes set up his Streamlabs OBS back in the day. God, he had some real OBS skills, far deeper than I ever expected him to develop as a software aficionado. He got positively good with sniffing out what was wrong with OBS and fixing it. And everybody remembering, times that they interacted with him or, enjoyed something he did or whatever. We were all lucky to have him for a friend. You're right, Prospero. This is about gratitude. This is about us being grateful, to have had a friend like this, and not to overwork it either. Not to be maudlin and make it something it isn't. But he was our friend, and like everything in this life, it's temporary, except life itself.
Well,
Yeah.
he gets to watch all his favorite Trek episodes over and over again now.
no
Yeah.
kidding. You don't have to watch it anymore if you don't want to.
Those of you who are concerned about Uzi, I saw a couple of things back up the chat. She's doing better than you could possibly expect, and she is shattered. She is just absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Well, he was her best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I know my mom said after my dad died, and it was a couple months later, because my mother had been very inconsolable the night Dad died. But she carried on when people came to the house and that kind of stuff, but after they left.
Yeah.
But after that, she was quite stoic. And she made the comment that she was afraid to cry for fear she'd never stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that shattered pieces of my heart all over the place.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that you can do, because you cannot make right what has gone awry.
No.
Not in this way. And it's
And we all say, if there's anything I can do to help, well, you can't help it because you can't bring that person back.
No.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing with death.
Yeah, that thought actually went through my head after Dad died. People kept saying that, and I was like, don't
Find me a decent necromancer.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
what I want, I was so afraid it was going to come out of my mouth. Unless
Yeah.
you can raise the dead, please stop saying that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew better than to be an ingrate.
Yeah.
Because every one of us has been in the position of receiving condolence, and every one of us has been in the position of having to offer it. And it is, It's very difficult to receive, and it's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And I think people worry too much because, see, overall, people don't remember everything you say to them. They remember that you were there holding them up when they weren't sure they could hold themselves up.
Yeah.
And that's what they remember, and that's what they appreciate. They appreciate the casseroles and the ham biscuits, and they appreciate the kind offers of help. But also remember that in a couple weeks' time, when the news isn't as fresh, they're really going to appreciate your checking in on them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not all casseroles.
Not all.
I told you that story. I know you know the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
The one that my sister and I still talk about to this day. We refer to it as the casserole.
Yeah.
The one that the people brought by that was just the most disgusting thing ever.
What was it?
It was like kind of like a cottage pie sort of thing, but it was like gray, greasy, congealed ground beef with canned green beans.
Ew.
Just everything was desaturated of color, and then these nasty mashed potatoes on top. Now you'd think, how bad can this be? Because this sounds like KFC, right? Just like whatever.
Oh, KFC
but it
sounds
was
like it would be better
But
than
it was way better. But it was just the most horrible thing. That it was like, we're both sitting there. Our dad's dead, and we're just like miserable. And this casserole was so bad that it made us start laughing.
Yes.
I mean, it was actually way more helpful than if it had been good. Because if it had been good, there'd be no memory of that. But
Yeah.
it's like a memory that only my sister and I actually have.
It's
Because we were the only ones sitting there trying to eat this thing. And it was like, at some point you're like, do I just start putting this on a spoon and flinging it at you? What is the protocol for something this bad that shows up, when you're grieving?
I actually know what that recipe is. I have 2 different versions of it.
Of cottage pie.
Well, no,
Is that what you're
of
talking-
what
or
Harry's
of gross
describing.
cottage pie.
It was literally called hamburger glop.
Ew. That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, now there are variations on a theme where it is quite tasty because it's not a grease.
If you make it with good
Yeah, not
components,
Good product, yes.
well cooked, it'll be fine.
it would
But
be.
if you make it with garbage, with fatty congealed stuff, you don't drain the grease from the ground beef. And
Correct.
there's a lot of ways to to destroy a casserole.
Oh, there are. And then God bless Lipton soup.
Oh, yeah. Amen, sister.
They are the backbone of Southern grieving culture.
Am I
Um,
weird for hating Hamburger Helper?
No, it's
No,
very,
hamburger
very.
helper is an offense to mankind.
I don't trust
Okay.
that hand.
It's so salty.
Yeah.
I couldn't tolerate it because it was so salty.
I don't need that kind of help.
No, I season my food when I cook it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't need you to.
But you don't season your salt with a little bit of food,
Correct.
which is
Correct.
what they do with hamburger helper.
Correct. It is.
Okay, I thought I was weird because
No.
No, it's awful.
I'd rather have, if I'm going to have that much sodium, give me Spam or stovetop stuffing. Don't waste my time
There you
with
go.
hamburger helper.
Yes.
or a pizza,
or
yeah.
a pizza. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that if you mop the top of your pizza, like press down and get some of the oil off the cheese, that you'll get about close to a teaspoon, quarter of a
Ugh.
teaspoon to a teaspoon of oil a year? That way, off your pizza.
A teaspoon of oil.
I mean, it really depends on what you're making your pizza with, but
Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
If it's vegan, greaseless,
The
Pizza.
vegan. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
with no cheese, no dairy. So.
I mean, I'd rather kill myself. Yeah.
That would be called impossible pizza, and I'm not eating it.
To be fair, the tranny talking about suicide's not exactly a new thing. But,
It's out there.
Careful.
That bad pizza is out there. Well, we welcome David, Jedi Ghost Bear. Welcome,
Hello.
buddy.
Hello.
Hello.
And
It's
we're
good to
just
meet your voice.
having a bit of casual discussion. Of course, we talked about the death of our friend Irate Prostate earlier, and
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just hearing. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to hear it on the air.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
That
he
is
had-
too bad. No,
he had not actually been tested. In fact, that's the last message he ever sent me. I was asking him. I said, "Have you been tested?" He said, "No, I've been tested." That's the last thing he ever said to me. This was, pretty unexpected. But anyway, I don't.
He will be-
He'll be tested now. I guarantee you.
Mm.
Because those maggots will want to harvest. There's death there. That's a statistic we need. It's for the people's own good. And he probably did have it, and probably did contribute to his passing. But anyway, I don't want to get into the specifics of that. It's the whole thing with the COVID death. Guy comes in with a bunch of bullet holes. Well, he's COVID. He's positive for antibodies, so that's clearly what.
Well,
killed
they
him.
have,
Well,
the exsanguination did not help him, but fuck.
Yeah, the Dr. Campbell did a video on the UK stats the other day that I think everybody would enjoy seeing. If you don't already know, it's Dr. John Campbell on YouTube, and you very much should be subscribed to his channel. He provides extremely good factual information presented without a great deal of editorial in anything on his channel about the other big O and its preceding variants.
Mm.
And the CDC, I'm sure, has these, but they're certainly not forthcoming to us. But the British have provided their stats on that which shall not be named. And of that which shall not be named alone, stats are surprisingly low.
I'm shocked.
Because
Not really.
No, there are people who are sitting there saying these statistics are a disaster. We do not have enough people dying. I want you guys to get in there and find me some deaths. I don't care what they died from. I don't care if they burned to death. If they had
gas a
COVID
school
antibodies.
if you have to,
That's it.
It's,
Yeah, exactly.
they're at that
kidding.
point. They're at that point. It's the disingenuity. I have such a hard time saying that word of reportage about a lot of things.
Is it disingenuity or disingenuousness?
Disingenuousness.
Yes,
It is disingenuous.
that's what I was trying to say.
Yes, but I like calling it disingenuity because of ingenuity.
I know that's actually a better word.
It is a
isn't it?
better word.
Kill that one, Prospero.
Yeah, hey, if
I
Lewis,
like that word better too. I'm going to start using it.
if Lewis Carroll and Bard could create words, I may. I have self-appointed myself to their company. Don't you like my arrogance?
It's almost like making portmanteaus.
Yes, portmanteaus. There you go.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Well, this is their World War II. They're not going to try. They're not going to give it up without,
Well, it's somebody's World War II, that's for sure.
You want to talk, Lewis Carroll? I'm your girl.
I cannot even hear the words World War II right now without thinking blue coal, America's finest anthracite.
Oh God. We're playing. The random associations tonight are great among our group of what makes us think of what.
A random association.
Speaking of plagues, I actually just picked up The Great Influenza by John M. Barry, so we'll see how that goes. It's about the Spanish flu, so
No,
we'll,
The ill-named Spanish flu.
I love
The only-
how, and I read an article about the Spanish flu, and it lasted less time than this is, and killed what was it, 50 million people?
Yeah. Well, ironically, the Spanish flu probably stopped a war, and this and the coof is probably going to help start one.
Yep.
It's
Yes.
opposite day.
Yeah, isn't it though? Because the Warhawks certainly are waving their chubbies.
Oh God.
Hey, Skep, I found something amazing.
What is that?
You're gonna love this. Make that full size. You're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
love
I'm
this.
there. Hang on.
Oh no.
It's a really misogynist old pharmaceutical ad.
Women dominate his universe. Psychic tension can rule his life. He doesn't understand the source of his psychic tension, but you do. He relates well to women with domineering traits, but not to men, not even his own son. Whenever psychic tension is a significant component in the clinical profile, consider the use of Valium diazepam. On proper maintenance dosage, Valium can help reduce the psychoneurotic patient's tension, anxiety, apprehension, agitation, alone and with depressive symptoms to give more comfortable and adaptable levels. The most commonly reported side effects are drowsiness, fatigue, ataxia, breathing failure, and death. For your passive dependent, tension ridden patient dominated by women, and for countless other psychoneurotic, Valium may prove itself a helpful partner to your psychotherapeutic skills. Please see last page of this advertisement for prescribing information. For God's sake, be careful with this shit.
It's like for your passive dependent, tension-ridden patient dominated by women. He's the little circle in the middle.
You know, I actually
It's
remember when this came out, because at Pfizer we were all about the trades, the trade magazines, and this was actually called a display ad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a display ad that ran in some of the trade magazines in the pharmaceutical industry. And this is meant to be read by a practitioner. Okay, so by a nurse practitioner, a physician assistant, or a doctor. And what they're trying to do a very interesting thing here. They were just starting to get a little bit crafty about throwing in the buzzwords. If you have somebody who comes with anxiety, apprehension, agitation, alone, or with depressive symptoms, when they said with depressive symptoms, when they got the indication that Valium might be possibly effective in some depression cases, man, this was Hoffman LaRoche at the time. They got bought later by SmithKline. But anyway, they went whole hog on this thing, and they said, we are gonna move some diazepam. And because at that time, the depression market was probably 10 times the size of the anxiety market.
Mm-hmm.
10 times. It was probably 50 times. And to the way that these guys who market this stuff, the way that they think about this, they think in terms of, about every third housewife in America is this person.
Wow.
Well, this is them branching out to get the male
audience too. They said, hey, we've got all the women. So anyway, that's actually where I was going with the story. So once they got all the women on Valium, then they began to reach out to the men who were, whatever, who had trouble in life. And one of the tags that they wanted to hang this on was, for some reason, women dominate his universe, and psychic tension can rule his life. Women are completely dominating this guy. Think of what it would be like for you, doctor, probably Dr. Man, and get these doctors to basically put diazepam in the water supply. That's what they were going for.
Well,
put them on Valium.
Do women ruin your life? We've got a pill for that.
Yes.
What I was going to say is, it's no longer Valley of the Dolls; it's Valley of the Guys and Dolls.
Yes, nice. Well, look at this diagram, this sociometric diagram. Look at his friend, upper right corner, little tiny circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and look at him. Look at him compared to his wife and his mom.
He's embargoed. He's like Cuba in the Bay of Pigs. He's surrounded by these women who destroy his life in this ad. It's hilarious.
And mom won't even stand in the circle, so that that is telling you something right there. I'm surprised they didn't have her stomping on him.
Here's a better idea, dude. Why don't you just grow a spine?
Yeah.
Notice how his mother and mother-in-law circles are bigger than his wife's. Which,
Yes.
Yeah.
How's a pecking order?
Son and Uncle Willie basically can't even see dad.
Nope.
He can't even see his father-in-law because he's basically hidden by the wife and his own dad.
Yeah.
Forget that guy. I can only see like the left side of him. I'm sorry. I just forgot I downloaded this earlier today, and I'm like, oh, Skep's got to see this.
This could almost be an ad for Jack Murphy's group.
Oh God.
Ooh.
I don't know who that
funny.
is.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah.
Consider that a blessing in your life.
Oh, the cuck guy. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah.
The cuck master.
Beardley McCuckerson.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. That's very, very apt.
Mm-hmm.
Beardley McCuckerson.
That's his real name.
Yeah,
Jack Murphy's just a stage name.
Oh, that's the truth. That's the truth, isn't it? Oh my God.
Yeah,
Hey,
I was trying to
found
explain
volume
the Jack Murphy thing to a friend of mine who actually, is like a fan of Tim Pool. And I was telling the guy, but I said, "Oh, that Jack Murphy doesn't seem like a bad guy." I'm like, "Okay, hold on." I mean, he's not a bad guy necessarily, but he's definitely got a marketing problem, a tiny marketing problem that he needs to deal with.
It's just a little one, yeah.
I'm the Sigma male. Pay me money. Like his marketing's kind of not working at this point. Poor guy.
Yeah. Now it's so funny because when a pharmaceutical company like Pfizer or La Roche or Lilly want to do a display ad, which is what they call this, you have to go through so much stuff. You have to get that ad approved. That ad has to be approved by a group that's associated with the FDA, and you essentially can't make any claims in your advertising copy that that make a claim for your drug that it cannot do, or that the FDA has not ruled that your drug is possibly effective, is usually the way that they put it. And it just astounds me looking back to see the kind of things that were thrown around. There are anxiety, apprehension, agitation, alone, or with depressive symptoms. If you ran an ad like that now and somebody took that drug and had a bad outcome, Prospero, what do you think a lawyer could do with verbiage like that?
Yeah, they'd have a field day with it. It's why we have the ads that like BP was talking about, hearing U.S. pharmaceutical ads, and Harry admits, everything. It's the laundry list of all the things that could go wrong are all there to avoid litigation.
Yeah.
So be warned, this could cause, this could cause iron poor blood. It could cause halitosis. It could, it's reached the point of George Carlin's mockery of saying, saliva causes cancer, but, good news, it's only when it's swallowed in small amounts over a protracted period of time. Yeah. So
So pharmaceutical ads do amuse me. I don't mean to take over your stream and turn it into Let's Laugh pharmaceutical ads, but
no, but
this also abuses the shit out of me.
It's very fun. Pharmaceutical ads.
Oh, wait a minute! It's a visual thing. Blind press.
What is it? What is it?
All right, here's what's going on. It's the back of a bus, and there's a picture of a box of Viagra with an individual Viagra tablet above the top, and there's a guy who is standing. And the exhaust pipe, which is this enormous phallic symbol coming out of the bus, this pipe coming out of the bus, goes straight up in the air and then kind of angles over a little bit, and it's coming right out of his crotch. That is a spectacular ad. That is absolutely it was designed for that bus. You know that ad was designed for that bus. That is
I'm just glad Mark Martin wasn't in that ad spread. I'm just saying.
Yes.
oh my. Oh, that is funny.
No, but like some of the ads I've heard over the years from the States, like, you know, and the thing that gets me is talk to your doctor about. It's like, I'm sorry, shouldn't your doctor be the one that's like, hey, you have this issue. I recommend that you take this medication. Not the other way around where you walk into the doctor's office and be like, hey, doc, I really think that I have this thing and this medication should cure it. So write that script, dude.
Well, doctors try to have satisfied customers. A lot of what doctors do isn't so much about healing as just managing customer expectations. That's why so many times they'll basically, oh, just here, have some doxycycline, so you can't say I didn't do anything for you. Because if you go to the doctor and they just say, walk it off every time you go to the doctor, you're just going to stop going. And then they can't pay their bills. So there's kind of a conflict, and they go, well, you know, it's not going to hurt them, and it might make them better.
Itself.
It's not going to hurt them. It might make them better. You have a Z-Pack. Get out of my office, whiner. We'll bill you.
Well, that's why the verbiage is made.
Well, that's why Z-Packs don't work anymore, too.
Yeah.
By the way, you know, or they're very hit or miss. Interestingly enough, it also, well, a little bit of a technical side trip into how antibiotics work. Doxycycline, which is a tetracycline antibiotic, has a different mechanism of action than a bactericidal antibiotic, which is what Z-Pack is based on. Bactericidal antibiotics cause the bacteria to burst. I'm not going to go into how that happens because there's a lot of chemistry involved, but basically they make it pop. They make the skin stop growing and the organism continues to increase in size, and it just ruptures itself. And that happens very quickly. And that's why bactericidal drugs like cephalosporins and penicillins are, you know, they're very good. They give you almost immediate relief. You start feeling better that day.
I usually do.
But if you can wait a day, if you're not really acute, sometimes a tetracycline, which uses bacteriostatic a bacteriostatic process, which simply retards the growth of the bacteria. It takes an extra day to start having an effect, but it has an immediate effect over almost the entire bacterial population because of the way that doxycycline spreads throughout the body. It does, and you know it also has some spectacular effects, and you know, giving you diarrhea too, because your
gut biome leaves the building.
Well, yeah, and it's also because it's an irritant,
yes,
and can actually cause pseudomembranous enterocolitis, which will kill you rather effectively if you catch it. It's a long, shitty way to go, if you pardon the expression. But anyway,
God damn it.
That notwithstanding, But anyway, getting back to Harry's ad, this is the best pharmaceutical ad I have ever seen. This is the finest one, and I have seen thousands of them. I have seen thousands of ads. I really have. And we used to go through, and they'd have us hunt for them, you know, to see what was getting printed.
Have you ever seen any of the ones that didn't make it?
Oh yeah, I saw some of the Pfizer verbiage that got kicked back, and it's the verbiage that gets kicked back. They don't really, you know, they don't really care what you do with the visuals, but what you put in text is very, very important because that has, you know, legal ramifications.
Yeah,
and so it can be something like failing to put in, you know, if you have an indication saying that your drug may be possibly effective in treatment of depression, and you say that it's effective at treating depression, that running that ad is breaking the law. That's actually a criminal offense.
On screen right there is really effective at treating depression. Let me tell you.
He looks very pleased with that product.
Yeah, another happy customer. Yeah, I just wonder, are there a bunch of German guys going around? Will I look like that?
Was it
Boston?
Yeah, his arms are akimbo, so like he doesn't need his hands at this point.
No.
It's just a force of its own.
No
Yeah,
hand.
yeah.
In that special area. I have one more thing for you because I want to keep you
Please,
cheered up, but there
keep
is
us
no segue. There's no segue. It's just a thing. Since you've got me full screen,
Okay.
I love this. I love this letter from the desk of Stanley Kubrick.
Oh God. Oh
To
God.
James T. Aubrey Jr., Metro-Goldwyn Mayor, 245 North Beverly Drive, Beverly Hills, California. Dear James, it has come to my attention that you and your studio are considering producing a sequel to 2001, A Space Odyssey, over my objections. My attorney informs me that you hold the option, and legally there is little I can do to stop you. However, I'd like you to know that I own the Tapir bone prop from 2001, the one Moonwatcher throws into the sky. If you attempt to make a sequel, I will cram that femur up your ass so far it will take an as yet undiscovered alien superintelligence to figure out how to dislodge it. Seriously, don't fuck with me. Best regards, Stanley.
I love it.
And I'm not. You can damn well bet that his secretary was like, "Would you like me to dictate, or would you like to dictate this, Mr. Kubrick?" And he said, "No, Shirley, you go sit down. I'm going to write this myself."
Yeah.
You know, that movie had come out, I believe, in March of that year.
Are you talking about 2010 or 2001?
2001.
Okay.
2001 of 1970. My friend Tim May and I went to see that, and we were so blown away and just wonderstruck by it that we stayed and watched it again.
Oh, I bet.
We spent like 6 hours in that movie theater. We didn't pay again. We just didn't move from our seats, and we were not the only ones who did this. Down in Washington, Crystal City, for Prospero, you know, we walked out of there and we just thought that was the greatest thing that could ever be. This was the future. You know, this was the brave new world. Man had just walked on the moon. You know, the world was our oyster. You know, flying cars, 5 years away tops, and the world let me down.
Yep. No jetpacks, no flying cars.
No hoverboards that actually work like hoverboards.
Yeah,
without exploding.
I was promised flying cars. I'm sorry. That's a huge problem. If I'm promised something when I come into a world, I expect it to, you know, the fuck, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
I always admire Kubrick as a director.
Oh, sure.
He definitely was good at taking challenging things and making pretty damn memorable movies out of them. Did any of you see Legion when it was on FX? The more modern thing. It was Holly, I think, was the name of the young director producer. It's obvious.
It's called Legion.
Legion, yeah. And the first season of that, whoever was doing the set design and the cinematography was so obviously and painfully and completely overwhelmed by the legacy of Stanley Kubrick that he couldn't help himself. Like, you just look at this and go, I know what movies you saw in film school and wanted to emulate when you got older.
Yeah.
But it was cool because they actually seemed to give this guy a relatively free hand. When you look at the credits, he did a lot of stuff. I felt like I was looking at the credits for Birdemic, where it was like one guy did the whole movie.
Oh, that's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird show, but it's really
okay.
interesting.
So it's David Heller is a troubled young man who was diagnosed with schizophrenia as a child, shuffled from one psychiatric institution to the next. In his early 30s, David met and fell in love with a beautiful and troubled fellow patient named Sid. After a startling encounter with her, he was forced to confront the shocking possibility that the voices he hears and the visions he sees may actually be real. Of course they are. Sid led David to Melanie Bird, a demanding but nurturing therapist who heads a team of specialists. Patanomy, Carrie, and Carrie, each of whom, Carries are spelled two different ways, each of whom possesses a unique and extraordinary gift. Together they help David to recognize and harness his hidden abilities and unlock a deeply suppressed truth. He had been haunted his entire life by a malicious parasite of unimaginable power. 3 seasons, 27 episodes.
Better than it sounds, because it's a Marvel thing, so you think, oh, it's going to be crap, but
Yeah.
actually it's like a weird little experimental sidewater of the Marvel universe that has nothing to do with any of the rest of it.
So it's not overweight lesbians smacking around green berets.
No, it's actually like a
With-
thing that hardly ever happens, where you can tell that somebody was given artistic freedom and they just kind of went crazy with it.
Okay. So
I'll have to check that out.
I guess
Legion,
there was
right?
Legion, Legion. It's on Netflix, and but you can get it on Amazon Prime and
Where fine TV shows are
Sky
sold.
on Demand, Now TV, iTunes, Amazon Prime, YouTube. You can. Oh, that's on YouTube Movies. Those you have to pay for that.
Okay, so stop making me full screen. I feel like I'm dominating your stream too much.
Why? Oh,
Oh man.
Nobody
on,
can see who's here. All they see is an angry letter from Stanley Kubrick.
on the note. On that note, I need to go to bed because I got to get my boys up for school.
God, where the hour went in a hurry. Didn't it?
But
Sure
it's
did.
Wednesdays with Skep tomorrow. Are you available?
I will be there.
Okay, and
I
it's
will
in
be
the
there.
actual daytime.
I was
So
going
you
to say,
can-
what time is it? So,
It's in the actual daytime at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m.
guys,
Central.
come and join us tomorrow. We really do have a good time.
And you can actually drink coffee at that hour. It's amazing.
Yep,
So
we have a pretty good time.
yes. So thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks for
and-
being on tonight.
Oh,
sweetie.
of course. Of
Sorry,
course.
I bailed Saturday. We'll do it this
No
Saturday
worries.
for sure.
Absolutely.
And
All right.
all right, you
Have a
take
great
care,
night.
and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. Good night,
Night.
guys.
Night,
Good night,
BP.
Night, Blends.
And yeah, it's I'm seeing some people in chat who I'm not familiar with.
Or you
And
haven't
Prospero
seen for
just
a
named
while.
one of them. Thank you. I'm actually going to remove them forever because
Thank you.
That
It was a spammy.
Bye-bye.
Oh, one of those guys.
Yep, spammy spam.
Yeah, it's just a spam bot. And but I'm seeing
Assassin got one earlier
yeah.
and gave him the big heat. You know, that it's happening now on every channel all the time. You know, it's in there. I went through Dr. Campbell's YouTube chat the other day.
Yeah. By the way, Raziel is just talking in Russian.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
He's not. That's not a bot.
I
so
know
don't
Raziel.
nuke him, guys.
I know Raziel. Where it's copacetic, I recognize.
But Spud Gun is here. I see. Shady is here. Nice to see you, Shady Grin.
Your boy Pat swung
that's-
by to say hi.
Your boy Pat. Hi, Pat. And Assassin of the Gray. Let me know if you want on, Pat. Hit me up on DMs. I'll flip you the link. And Elwin's here, and Malevolent Rider is here. A bunch of people who haven't stopped by in a while. It's nice to see you. And Functional, Dante, Kiever Dam, Sora, of course, and Joel. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming out to see us this evening. I love to go through what chat is thinking at some point in the thing. Raziel says it's Russian, Portuguese, and English. So I got the Russian part right, but I wasn't too sure about the middle language. It's Portuguese. Yeah, Portuguese, the language with no regular verbs.
Just
No
because
regular-
they can.
because they're Portuguese.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a supposedly a very hard language to learn. There's also something about I forget if it's the adjectives changing position in the sentence depending on the case. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Just kill me. Anyway, so it's been a.
It's been a day.
I feel like I've been on a roller coaster all day long. I just am. You get emotionally exhausted, and something affects one of your friends. It's hard not to put yourself all out for it. Anyway, I'm just kind of gibbering at
Well,
this
yeah,
point.
I'm in the same place.
I have a serious comment for you.
Yeah, please.
I mean, it can't be all jocularity.
Yeah.
I have noticed one thing that's changed in the last couple of years.
What's that?
You find out that somebody's passed away, but you're just not sure if they have. Like there's somebody but you don't know them as well as Irate, and they're just gone. And then because of all the COVID crap, you're trying to figure out, did this person pass away? I don't want to bother their family and just start saying, hey, is your daughter dead now? This has happened to me several times in the last couple of years. I lost a friend of mine who she had a restaurant and she died. It was rough. I mean, I didn't know her super well, but I knew her well enough that it bothered me. And a guy that I've actually known for, about 45 years. I think he died the other day, but I don't know. And this just seems really bad. That this is a thing that's like, this is a modern problem where you just, you don't know if people are dying, and you're so divorced from it because we're all so isolated. You're not even sure what to do. I mean, I could go knock on his door and see if he's still there. I don't think he is. Back
when people used to do things in meat space, like in the early part of the 20th century, you would know that somebody had died because they stopped showing up at work or at your house or wherever you meet them, at the bar and so forth. Now, we don't really have a status indicator that's visible to everyone that shows how we are, where we are, or even that we're still alive.
Just a little circle that says offline.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like, what does offline mean? Does it mean that, you hooked up with an old flame and you're going to be gone for a weekend? Or does it, what does offline mean?
Or
does it mean you're never coming back?
Or were you unplugged?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to bring things down after all the jocularity, but it actually really does concern me. Because like this particular guy, I've talked about him on stream. I tutored his daughter, who unfortunately passed away of leukemia. This was when she was like in junior high school. I mean, because she had it and it went away and it came back. That kind. And so, needless to say, I've known this guy for a long time. He's the one I've jokingly said that I'm not going to chop down my my tree that he hates because it drops leaves on his roof until after he dies, and that was a joke, And I'm sitting here thinking, well, maybe I can chop that tree down now. So it's on me for making that joke.
No, it's not on you. You made something that brought a smile to somebody's face. That's nothing wrong
because he was
with that
being
joke.
completely unreasonable all at the same time.
I know.
So,
it
but
for
it
fun.
does seem like it's a problem. It took me to find out my friend Maria passed away. It took me almost 3 weeks. And I actually had to do some sleuthing because I wasn't going to go in and talk to her mom at the restaurant and say, oh, by the way, is your daughter dead?
But you knew,
I'm not
you
gonna
know
do that.
where she lived, right?
Yeah, but I didn't want to put other people out, because if I was wrong, I didn't want to bother them. And if I was right, I didn't want to bother them. My need to know isn't that important to anybody but me.
But death notices are a thing.
I would say, have you looked to see if there's an obituary?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've looked and didn't find anything
Okay,
for my
you
friend
didn't find
Maria.
anything.
There never was anything in the paper. I actually
Okay.
found the reference I found to it was somebody 3 weeks after she died went to her restaurant and left a review on Yelp saying that there was a memorial set up at the cash register. That's how I found out my friend died.
Oh, wow.
And that is so, that
That's-
sucks so hard.
Yeah. It just slams you.
And I'm not important in this story. I'm not important. I'm just an observer observing that we're becoming even more disconnected from important stuff like this. It's really good that Uzi was with Irate.
Yeah.
You know, there's just people who don't have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know why it matters to me so much. It's because, you know, for a second there, it's the most important thing in the world. And then afterwards, it's, you know, like, okay, this sucks. But I do feel like we have a very unhealthy relationship with death. And I've said this before, because we take older people and we shuffle them off into facilities where we don't have to look at them. And I think it's really offensive to me.
Yes.
Yeah. That said,
Sanitizing.
there are facilities and there are facilities. You know, I have seen facilities do it right, and where they have different stages for, you know, how much independence you have. And they usually have the majority of the people there are in the you know, needs the least amount of assistance, and they live essentially independent lives in apartments.
Yeah.
And then as they need more assistance, they get past the places. This is like where my dad is. You get past the Freedom House. The cool thing about Freedom House is because you're probably going crazy and losing your mind from Alzheimer's. You had the Freedom House where they lock you in, so that you won't wander off.
At the Freedom House, it's like an Arbeit macht frei kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, when you go to Freedom House, you're only leaving feet first. And
Nice.
That's the truth. And that was the way my mother went. She died in Freedom House. And so it's, but that said, you know, they take very good care of them, and, you know, it's very upscale and so forth. Of course, you also have to have $250,000 in cash to hand to them to get in there. So
yeah, you have to basically sell your house to buy in.
That's
and
exactly
then you
right.
buy that apartment. But usually if you run out of money, they can't kick you out.
No,
so you're buying in, but it's like a
exactly
lifetime
right.
buy-in. Yeah.
Yep. It's,
Whatever that ends up being, whether it's a year or 10 years,
they know when you're going to die. They
have
know
a pretty
when
good
you're
idea.
They know within 5 years. By the time when a 70-year-old heads into blue skies of Texas, which is where my dad is, they know within 5 years when you're going to die, most of the time. Now, guys like my dad just beat BTFO out of their statistics, because he's 94 and continues on. And it's the nonagenarians that send them up the wall, because they just stay alive for too long, and it's a huge cost. It really is.
Is there a no stem cell treatment clause in their contract?
No, in fact, my dad got stem cell treatments to regrow some cells in his knee.
Yeah.
And it actually helped him more systemically than it did his knee, but it helped a variety of organ systems. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. You bring up an interesting thing, though, Harry, and I have wanted to discuss this on stream. It might be a time to do that now. And that is, this is something that, you know, is not unique. You may think it's unique to old people like me, but it's really not. And that is, if I died tomorrow, who would tell Minions of the Zoo? Because my wife is a farmer, basically. She's not involved in this stuff. she wouldn't know the first thing about how to send out a tweet saying, "Hey, and you can start the party. Frank's dead," and she wouldn't know to do that.
We're going to call your phone. You do realize.
Well, exactly. But I won't have left a message if my death is unexpected. Actually, that's a good point. I'll put that on my suicide list, things to do, to-do list before I blow my brains out.
Are you going to set up one of those canary things where basically if you don't hit the reset button every day, it just mails an obituary to the Midlothian Times?
Hold up.
With a dead man switch.
I'm stealing my shtick, Skep. I'm the suicidal tranny on the stream. You don't get to steal my suicide stick. That's my thing.
Well, I was just going to euthanize myself. It wouldn't really be a suicide.
Does this shotgun oil come in mint?
You
For
were
the
awful.
great taste of shotgun.
Double your barrel.
That's
Double
one
your
of the funniest things I've heard in a long time.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry if it leaves an aftertaste.
Do you use,
It's not going to be an issue.
so do you use double mint on double barrels? Is that the deal?
The double mint twins with a double barreled shotgun. full of
It's
fun.
like it's better than trying to do the T-berry shuffle.
Yeah.
Well, I told you about a
The
friend of
minty
mine.
taste of gun oil.
A friend of mine. It's their family. It was Dorothy and Otis, the people who did the designs for all those early double mint ads and stuff. I think I sent you a link to the book about them. Another one of those Eames type things. This husband and wife design team.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing we don't see as much of the husband and wife design team anymore, unless I'm mistaken. Okay.
Let me think.
We have separate anyway.
Doesn't really jump to mind.
Sorry, Eve. What?
Am I just really quiet or something? Because I keep
Yes.
trying to talk and I'm not coming through. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, well, that worked.
That worked.
That worked.
I had to yell into my microphone. Hang on, let me check my settings or something.
But at any rate, I have often thought that there might be a.
How about now?
Perfecto.
Sound good. Sound perfect.
Fucking StreamYards is auto adjusting my fucking mic volume.
I know. I've had to deal with that too. And just turn that off if it's giving you trouble.
I was wondering, if talking over me the whole time. I'm like, I'm trying to make comments and interject, and I'm like, I'm about to get pissed off.
Well, no, we
This
just
is
can't.
StreamYard thing, because Nick Ricketti complains about it all the time on his streams because he's bringing people in and out all day.
Hangouts had the same problem. It's the damn audio ducking, and it pisses me off. Like, if there's already someone talking, someone trying to interject or say anything, you won't hear a thing. It'll just be garbled noise in the background.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I thought that there was probably a possibility for an application where you would pay a certain amount of money, and this company would have a way of knowing whether or not you were still alive. I'm not sure how that would be accomplished, but and it might be something like they would have to go through and see who's alive after a month or something. But there has to be a way of keeping tabs on the people who are checking in and checking out of life. I think something like that will come along that will keep track of that and other physical aspects of us.
I've been saying we need a service that does that. So
yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if you could, because that's an interesting thought. I'm wondering if like an auto send for your obituary, something like that, to your circle of
what
friends.
would trigger it? What's the triggering event?
I guess you would have to voluntarily put your info into the service, like your identifying info. So when the obituary hits, it would automatically send.
But what if you don't have an obituary? Not everybody has an
Well,
obituary.
them the
In fact,
breaks.
most people
Yeah,
don't. So
them
I
the breaks.
was
I'm not
thinking
sure.
something like a physical, something you would wear that would detect your pulse or something like that. Maybe a ring that would broadcast, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive, and then stop. Or maybe, I'm not sure how that would work, but those are all design details. I think it's an idea that people are going to want to look into, because people are going to want to know that kind of information in much more detail and about many more people than they used to. So the other thing about the internet is your circle of friends can get pretty large pretty quickly, and that's happening to a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're interconnected, not just connected, we're interconnected. We're connected in little complex networks and networks of networks within the internet in ways that nobody could have foreseen.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, Harry?
The whole sort of human network theory thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was still thinking about your original thing about the announcement of death.
Yeah.
Right. And I've thought about this, like obviously a lawyer or somebody would be good for this. But there was a tech thing that happened. A little bit of a pivot, sorry. Are you acquainted with the story of TrueCrypt? Or do you know what TrueCrypt was?
I remember the name. What did I read about TrueCrypt?
Well, TrueCrypt was like a hardcore open source disk encryption thing. So it had all kinds of cool features, like you could make drives that had encrypted data, but it didn't look like they had encrypted data. So you could basically hide encrypted data within other data. There were all sorts of things that were designed to get around stuff like Chinese restrictions. It was very, very, very empowering. And it was the kind of thing that governments just hated. So one day, all of a sudden,
the fly encryption,
there was a notice when you went to their website, and what it basically said was the development of TrueCrypt was ended in 2014 after Microsoft terminated support of Windows XP, Windows 8, Vista, blah, blah, blah. Later offering integrated support. Goes through this whole thing, and it says TrueCrypt had flaws that hadn't been fixed, and it recommended you use Microsoft BitLocker. And that was like the last thing that they said. And everybody thought that it was essentially a warrant canary, because they'll put out these warrants saying you're not allowed to talk about the fact we're about to screw you. Three-letter agency's about to come for you. So people set these things up so that if they don't do something, then an announcement gets made. It's an automated system that kind of lets them off the hook of the warrants. Like, I didn't say anything.
It's called a dead drop. They use it a lot in spy movies of like, if I'm not back at my computer in 12 hours, this email will be sent with all this information that completely exposes the big bad guy and da-da-da-da.
Yep, that's the same general idea. And so the TrueCrypt people, them recommending that you do something as absurd as use BitLocker was the other kind of tell. Because they just suddenly disappeared from the network. Like go to SourceForge, all their code was gone. Suddenly, this very troublesome crypto app just ceased to be a thing that people could use. Yeah.
Well, hey, it was only good on Windows and Linux, really.
And Mac and BSD
and
everything.
Mac OS.
I mean, other than
and
every
X.
operating system, it was not good for anything.
Other than all the operating systems.
Other than all the things, it was good for none of the things.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But you just need something like that for people.
Oh, this was that thing that could encrypt a part of your boot partition. It
could encrypt all sorts of stuff. It was a great program. And it was particularly good if you wanted to encrypt something in ways that would not get you in trouble with, say, like the Chinese government. The trouble is it doesn't help you with what they call rubber hose decryption, where they sit you down in a chair and threaten to beat you with a rubber hose until you unlock it.
Yeah, exactly.
Better hope you didn't forget your code.
Well, I love that. I'm just reading the article on TrueCrypt now, but it's plausible deniability. TrueCrypt supports a concept called plausible deniability by allowing a single, quote, hidden volume, end quote, to be created within another volume. In addition, the Windows versions of TrueCrypt have the ability to create and run a hidden encrypted operating system whose existence may be denied.
Yeah, cool.
That's actually potentially could give you some degrees of freedom if you wanted to do something dishonest. That could be really advantageous.
Yeah, if you were a bad actor, this was the software for you.
Oh, damn right.
But also, if you didn't want to be boned by your government, your oppressive government, this was also the software for you.
Who were the Texas Tech crazy people? Those crazy black hat hackers at Texas Tech. Cult of the Dead Cow. This is Cult of the Dead Cow stuff. This is right down their alleys. Google Cult of the Dead Cow, guys. There's some great reading. Do not go to their sites. Do not go to their site.
And do not sign up for their mailing list.
What I'll tell you right now. I had a couple of people go to their site. They did not listen to me. They went to their site, and you instantly are infected with their virus. Their malware, basically. It's not a virus. It's a piece of malware.
Mm.
And these guys are some of the best at this type of stuff. They are really top notch to get into Cult of the Dead Cow. I mean, there's people don't even know how to get in because that is such a elite, deep elite lore thing. How you can even, get to know those people.
And because Skep mentioned them on the air, we're going to get hacked.
No, we won't. People used to talk about Cult of the Dead Cow a lot. They're some fairly scary people. They're all just a bunch of black hatters.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing. But this is interesting. I'd like to sit and talk parallelization and multi-core systems with Harry about this. But
you don't want to lose all your viewers?
I would like someone to watch the show tonight.
It's all about the warrant canary, man. That's the thing. The dead man switch.
Canary. Yeah, I do.
You almost have to set up something where unless you intervene, something happens. And that's the only way you're really going to tell. I worked with a guy, I don't know, like 25 years ago. And he was just one of the nicest people. I mean, people say this about people. Say, oh, he was one of the nicest people. No, this guy literally was one of the nicest people you could ever hope to meet. Really fantastic guy. And kind of a mentor for young Harry back in the day, too. I mean, I learned a lot from him back at the time. And he just didn't show up for work one day. And eventually, after 3 days of him just no contact, they sent somebody by to his house, and he was like 40-something, and he was just dead. Wow. He wasn't in bad health, nothing else. It's just one of those outliers. He was just dead.
He woke up dead one day. My wife, the hard-bitten nurse.
Do we all need like Dick Cheney technology? Do we all need like the automatic defibrillator implanted after the age of 40?
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that because that's the reason I go to a cardiologist is for arrhythmia. And she said, I really wish we could get one of those Dick Cheney devices for you. That would be perfect for you.
Just shock your heart back into compliance.
Yeah, exactly. But it's VA.
Yeah, wake up, Skep.
Yeah, it's 1970s medicine.
Yeah.
Is
the VA fit for purpose anymore? Should it just go away?
Some parts are. Some parts are really good. And it turns out that there are people who rate VA hospitals. And the Dallas one that I go to is rated one of the worst in the United States. So I'm actually thinking that I'm going. There are 2 other VA hospitals in my area. There's one in Fort Worth that is almost the same distance away from me. It's a little bit farther, and then there's one that's farther north in Dallas. And both of them have better reputations than the one I go to. So I don't know what that means, but I've already been reassigned a primary care physician, and I just got the thing in the mail saying that she has left. I never even met her. I never even met this Chinese lady, Dr. Han. She's already left the VA, and I need to come in and spend another half an hour filling out forms and getting another primary care provider assigned to me. I'll get right on it.
Do you want to hear something borderline racist?
Yeah, what?
I keep losing phone headsets. You know, I spend like $100. I buy a good one, and then I keep losing them.
Yeah,
and so I finally said, screw this, after about 4 phone headsets in as many years. Because I just can't find them. They just disappear. They go somewhere. I don't know where they go. I figured I was going to get a cheap one because that might help me find it.
They go to the headphone zone.
They go to the headphone zone. And so I got this $40 headset with a $12 coupon off of Amazon with a name. I don't even know how to describe the name. I don't know what brand this thing is. It's made in China. I don't know what it is. It's just this Chinese headset. It's so low budget that I think it's fair to say that some people who speak Chinese as their first language and English as their second language may have a bit of an accent. I think I can say that without getting in trouble with you.
I feel like that's not unfair.
Yeah. Well, this phone has like the tiniest, most horrible voice commands to it that sound like a woman with that accent. Like they actually are selling it where it speaks in English, but with like a heavy Asian accent.
Yes.
So it's almost indecipherable what it's actually saying, because it's hard to hear. So I've nicknamed this. I've given it a name. I've decided that her name, the voice in my headset, her name is Fong Fong.
Of course you did.
Okay. I'm gonna mute now. Somebody else.
That makes me happy.
I was going to say, speaking of the VA, when Kayla had her motorcycle accident last year, it was to let you know how poorly the hospital treated her while she was in there. The VA did better after she got out. They treated her better after she got
really?
out. Yeah, that was
was she treated at the Pensacola
facility?
At Huntsville, really?
Yeah, Huntsville, Alabama.
That's actually considered to be a good hospital.
They are good trauma, but as far as like the aftercare went, they got her in and airlifted her in on a helicopter. She got there. They put these like I'm gonna say the silver sulfazide bandages. They're real expensive ones. These mesh bandages. They put them directly on the road rash, and they didn't bother to check or change those bandages between Sunday when she had the accident and Wednesday when she got discharged from the hospital. Didn't change
her bandages between Sunday and Wednesday?
No, because they said, well, you're supposed to leave them on there. It's like, yeah, but then we went to the VA.
These are those treated bandages. I know what you're talking about.
We went to the VA the following Thursday, the day after she got discharged, and they peeled those off, and there was so much pus and stuff that should not have been there. The nurses at the VA looked sick.
Well, they're probably throwing every antibiotic on earth at her. That's what they do with the road trauma.
They didn't give her any antibiotics or anything. No prescriptions for any of that. And I'm like,
no. What I mean is they gave them to her intravenously. And then they gave her a shot in her hip of another antibiotic that's actually packed in oil and it releases over time. That's pretty standard trauma treatment. I'd be surprised if she didn't receive that standard of care. She did not get antibiotics at all.
I was with her the whole time, or 90% of the time. I don't recall ever seeing them give her antibiotics or anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was she ever on an IV?
She might. I think she was, but as far as I know, it was just saline. You know.
Yeah. Well, you won't see them. They'll come in and they'll quietly put a little cylinder on there and give it a quick push. You won't even notice it.
Yeah.
That's the antibiotics.
They usually told us what it was. But...
Yeah, I was going to say that the other thing is they wouldn't, if they're just putting in D5W or ringers, they won't tell you what they're putting in. So anyway, just heard someone pop back into the stream.
As far as I was aware, they never gave her antibiotics while she was there. They also didn't have a prescription for antibiotics when she left the hospital.
She did not have a prescription for antibiotics?
No, they didn't give her anything. I think they gave her something for pain, but nothing for antibiotics. And I'm like, are you serious? So overall, I was very displeased with the way that they treated her in the hospital.
That's just
liked the VA better.
Huh. I can't imagine somebody coming in with the kind of injuries she had.
Yeah,
that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Of her body and on her left side of her body, and then they didn't set her collarbone correctly, so her arm had actually fallen down like 2 inches. Her shoulder dropped 2 inches. And by the time she actually got in to see the VA doctor, because the crappy sling that the hospital gave her, they ended up having to do surgery to put a plate on there and hold the collarbone back in place. So
I was going to say, usually if they don't think it's serious enough, they won't set the collarbone at all. But if she had a complete fracture of the collarbone, they're supposed to do surgery.
Yeah, they didn't set her ring finger is still crooked because they didn't set that properly either before they put it in a splint. And now they had to go in and put pins in that and do surgery. And her ring finger in her right hand is basically perpetually bent now at like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, it won't go straight.
No.
Yeah, because the tendon got cut. That's why. That's why fingers do that.
Yep.
Damn.
So do you think she's going to throw a leg over a bike ever again, or is she decided she doesn't want to do it?
Most definitely, she will get back on a bike.
Good.
I know her too well. I told her though, I'm like, I will never ask you to not do something that you love like that. What I will say is, as long as we are together, you are going to be wearing full riding leathers before you get back on that bike if you want this relationship to continue. And she says, that's fair. That's totally fair. And I was like, because that would have been 10 times, like way less painful and way less damaging on your body had you been wearing proper gear.
If you're wearing leathers, if you're wearing motorcycle gear, that really does make a difference. I know Harry has forgotten more about this than I'll ever know. But,
all the gear, all the time. That's the motto.
Yeah, I've talked with trauma doctors who talk about people who are in relatively low speed collisions, but they lose an arm because they were dressed in t-shirt and shorts and decided to go ride their bike, stick a helmet on their head and go ride their bike. So their squash gets saved, but they leave their arm up the road, and for an accident that happened at 25 miles an hour.
Yep. And that's
Seriously.
about how fast Kayla was going too.
Yeah. So, lesson learned, right?
Yeah. And she, like I said, she was wearing a t-shirt and yoga pants and her helmet.
Well, yoga pants should have protected her, right? Because they have the mystical power of chanting.
Uh-huh.
Well, back before my macho road bike accident, I used to occasionally get on one of those skinny wheeled racing bikes. I go up to the top of this hill, about 7 miles of climbing up this hill. And then coming back down, you're doing 40, 45, and then you suddenly go, I'm on skinny tires going 45 miles an hour, and there's nothing between me and this asphalt except for basically pantyhose. I'm just And I'm like, no, just start applying the brakes. This is not fun anymore. You do a lot of stuff like that because when you don't think about it, but then after stuff happens, then you kind of have to go, okay, let me reassess my risk profile. I still want to do this thing, but what can I do to make it less stupid? And
Yes.
motorcycle gear is a worthwhile concession. On hot days, it's going to be like, I really wish I wasn't wearing this, but I still want to keep my skin.
On a hot day that you have an accident, that regret will vanish.
Yeah, I mean, textile mesh stuff actually works pretty well. You can, it's not as durable as the leather stuff, but it will let some air in, so you're not so miserable that that's going to make you crash. Because being cold and miserable or hot and miserable makes people dumb. You know, they do stupid things. So you kind of have to be comfortable and protected at the same time. So it doesn't have to be leather. Mesh is okay too. But you just want to make sure you buy stuff that can actually handle a 65-mile-an-hour slide.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
And
No,
then-
I was just curious because excuse me. I do commute on two wheels a lot of times, and I'm always interested in other people's kind of way of looking at their relationship with bikes. Because you run into people like Kayla that just go, yeah, I'm getting back out there. I'm getting back on. I don't want to live my life without doing this. And then other people are like sort of one and done. Like, oh, tried to go around a corner on an American bike with gravel. Oops. And then,
Yeah. And actually,
the bike had a different idea about the direction it was supposed to go. And then they never get on a bike again.
that's the only time I've ever had, I guess, I kind of laid it down. It was a gravel misjudgment by me. The wheels went right out from under me too.
Yeah.
That was on a Honda. It's a Honda 900.
Well, bikes are just so much better than they used to be in terms of traction control and anti-lock brakes. And
Bikes are better now than they were in 1977. Why?
yeah, headsets that don't shake themselves apart. They don't have shitty ass drum brakes.
Yeah.
No, bikes are fun.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
There is no
Yeah.
feeling. There was no feeling like the feeling of going from Carmel to Big Sur on a back of 900 cubic inches of motorcycle. It's just too damn much fun.
Yeah.
It's like you're flying. It feels like flying to me.
So the worst part about it is that we were on our way that day, that very same day,
Mm-hmm.
to get to the store to get a helmet so that I could join her on the back of the bike to get another helmet. And I think we stopped to turn around because her brother was driving his bike, and his wife was like, well, I'd like to ride your bike later, so let's go back to the house since we're just around the corner and grab my helmet so that way I have it and we can, ride later. And then that's when the accident happened, was on the way back to their house to get her helmet. And, we had just had the conversation the night before about how motorcycle accidents are kind of almost an accepted reality to riding a motorcycle. Like it's not a matter of if it happens, but when.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I had to explain it to him. Like, I can't think like that. I have to deal with it when it comes, because if you sit here and dwell on the fact of this could happen at any time, I'm going to go nuts. I'm just going to lose my mind. So I just have to be. And when the problem came, I spent the next 4 or 5 weeks cleaning her stuff every day, cleaning that road rash every single day. And yeah, that
Because that's what we do.
mm-hmm, that took a piece of me.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of
zero
Zeroform gauze, Skep. I think the stuff you were talking about was the Zeroform gauze that has like the petroleum and the antibiotics in it.
That is what I was thinking.
I used to. I keep some of that in my first aid kit that I carry on my bike. I actually get them from this retired Navy guy in Oregon. he's a bit of a prepper, shall we say. He's a Navy ER doc guy. And so I have this kit from him and I've augmented it with some things. It's amazing the number of things that require a prescription that you can buy off of Amazon where they don't actually ask. Like Zero-Form gauze. Because that is a prescription item. But you know, it's a good thing to have in an emergency. You know, basically just carry some stuff to clean up the wound and then just slap that on there. And then, because sometimes when you crash, there aren't people around. That if you're doing it right, if you're really enjoying the freedom of the bike, you go places sometimes
where there
by
are
yourself
not people.
where there are not people and there are not cell phones and there are not things, and you need to be kind of prepared to deal with whatever shit comes your way.
Yes.
And it's just part of the thrill.
Hi, Jenna.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
No. Well, I heard you say that, but
Anyway, by the way, I just wanted to pass along to Jenna Hunt. I'm gonna mute you just for a second, just because that's just so loud. I just heard from Uzi, and she's gonna go. She's gonna get some sleep, and just wanted to thank everybody for the love and concern that she's felt today. That's been really heartwarming. I think for her, it's really made her, feel it's eased this as much as it can be eased. And so I wanted to thank everybody who has conveyed their concern and their love, to our friend. And if you haven't done so, don't be afraid to. She is very open and loves to hear from people. So if you're moved to do so, don't hesitate in letting her know that we're thinking about her. But it was good to see that she's turning in and trying to get some sleep, do the best she can right now. She's with her family. She's surrounded by her family in Birmingham, Alabama, where they live. That's not doxing. Birmingham's a big goddamn city.
Mm-hmm.
And
when I get the chance, I'll pass along the best condolence letter I've ever read ever, and because I can't put the words any better than Jefferson did. But Jefferson, I don't know if anybody's read Jefferson's condolence letter to John Adams when John Adams' wife Abigail Adams died.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most perfect condolence letter I could ever possibly. I'll pass that along when I get a minute.
Especially since Jefferson and Adams had, shall we say, a contentious relationship across their lives.
Well, they got close after neither one was president anymore.
Yeah, they became much, much closer.
Well, so did he and Abigail Adams. Jefferson and Abigail Adams.
Yes.
Abigail was the only one to ever actually call him a liar straight to his face.
Yeah. Well, it's the rapprochement was reached. They wrote letters to each other routinely, and Adams' last words are reputed to be "Jefferson lives." They, of course, died on the same day.
The Republic is safe while Jefferson lives, or something to that effect. Yeah. Unaware that Jefferson had already passed away that morning.
Yeah, they both died on the 4th of July, 1825.
Was it 25? I always get that wrong. I always think it's 25 and it's 26, or it's 27.
It's 26. It was on the 50th anniversary on the nose.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The 26. I do that because for some reason, and the 18th of April in 75. And so I get it backwards.
Well, it's because we should have just declared independence a year earlier. We were procrastinating.
Yeah, we were. I mean, that was a dust up. That wasn't, it's the start of the war, but it's not the start of the war. Even then, things were confusing. A history major can't remember when the Declaration of Independence was written. Score one for me. Derp.
That's okay. I asked a friend of one of my granddaughters. I said, "Do you know?" And this is a junior in high school. I said, "Do you know where France is?" And she said, "Is that a city in Texas?"
You mean she was thinking of Paris, Texas?
No, she'd never heard the word France before. She did not know what France was.
Because I was
Oh.
thinking, because there's a Paris, Texas. So
Yes, there are actually several cities in Texas named after French cities, but no, this was not about the East Texas, the Northeast Texas city named called Paris. This was just her having missed out on she's never been educated.
No.
She has a learning disability, which means that she sits in her own classroom with a student teacher who handles the assignments for her and explains them as the student teacher completes the assignments.
Oh, dear.
Explains them to the student. And that's why she hasn't learned anything. That's how they do it down here.
That's not helpful.
No, her grades are quite good. Her grades are amazing. This is the one that I asked about, can you name a country in South America? And she said, no. Is Africa one? This is a junior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what the education board is doing. And this girl is not any dumber or brighter. She's just the average kid, regular kid. This is what the education board has brought you. It's kind of been a
Pull your kids out
tonight. Sorry.
now.
Yeah. But anyway,
I feel better about homeschooling my kids already. Thanks, Skep.
Well, and as do I. As do I. But that's not for everybody, and that's not really a broad-based solution. We have to have a way to educate the next generation. If we don't, we won't have a country. We'll have
School choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If my wife wasn't as amazing as she is, we wouldn't be able to homeschool for sure. But it's frustrating.
It's not as hard as it used to be. Like I'm involved in homeschooling one of my grandchildren, and the lesson plans are out there, and the information you can teach it. I've taken over his math education, and I'm teaching him some of the more traditional methods. He now knows how to do long division. He's 12 years old. Never been taught long division. Can you imagine that?
Well, they try to do, I forget the method they use, but it doesn't freaking work because the rules are different.
Yeah.
Because I remember we did.
You organize the hundreds, the tens, the ones. You put them in different columns. You do 4 or 5 different things to them, and in the time that you could have done 4 or 5 long division problems, you get a simple, quotient. Sorry.
Right. But because it has totally different rules, when you try to do a more traditional method, they can't do it, and so they're like, we had problems with our kids were still going to the traditional school that, they didn't understand, carrying rules and that sort of stuff because they were so confused with the new stuff, and it's just like, so we can. Everybody knows half of everything instead of like one method really well.
Right. And they'll tell you, you don't really need to know how to do that because you always have a calculator. Really? I suppose so. I suppose that's probably a fair assumption to make.
You're just one solar flare away from a teachable moment.
I know, exactly. I was going with the EMP example, but yeah.
Project Starfish. Yeah.
It's 1930. Congratulations.
Nuclear power.
Yeah. Actually, 1930 would look pretty good probably after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I mean, you do know me. I do have I do have a slide rule collection because I'm just that interesting.
well,
I could loan you one, Skep.
you're not the only one who not only has a slide rule, has 2 loaners. I don't have as many slide rules as you do, but I have 3.
Hmm.
And that's plenty for me right now.
Yeah.
But I still got my LK&E that I used in 1970 and 71 my year of math, my year of deadly math at Northwestern. I used my slide rule all years. The Bomar Brain had come out and was available to you for like $800. Seriously, $800 in 1970 was a decent amount of money.
Yeah. No
you
kidding.
could buy a good car for $800, a good running car for $800, or a Bomar Brain, which awesomely could take square roots. That was a huge thing. The second generation Bomar.
Mhm.
But anyway, how I do go on, guys. You have spent 2 hours of your life listening to us prattle on. I think it's about time to close it out. I'm just worn out. It's been a day, and I know everybody else probably feels the same way. So, if it's okay with you guys, let's call it right here. And I'm going to leave you with this. You know, we just have a little lifetime on this earth, and man, don't take any single day for granted. Seriously, it's you just never know, how long you have. Look at the example of these 6 fish.
Yeah.
They thought today was going to be a regular day, but God got mad, or God held a grudge, or something. But whatever happened, it was 6 crispy critters, and those lightning bolts could be headed for you. But seriously, all kidding aside, give somebody you love a hug tonight. And I plan to do that, even if it's a dachshund. So anyway, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks chat. Thanks panel. All my friends. IP, I know you're watching, buddy. Fair winds and following seas. The zoo is closed. Good night, everybody.
Good night.